You've seen the RTX 3060 Ti versus the 5060 Ti and the RTX 3070 versus the 5070. But today it's time for the RTX 3070 Ti versus the RTX 5070 Ti. But before we get into that, here's a quick word from this video sponsor.
Audition take one, action.
The Arctic MX7 Ultimate Performance Thermal Paste, made to meet the... Wait, Kat, you really want me to read this?
Yes, just read the lines.
It's not exactly sexy and exciting, is it? I mean, it's thermal paste. Who's actually going to buy this?
Everyone, please just read the lines.
Okay. The Arctic MX7 Ultimate Performance Thermal Paste, made to meet the highest demands in terms of performance, application, and safety. Thanks to its new formula, MX7 achieves even lower thermal resistance and a measurable performance increase, whether it's used on desktop CPUs, GPUs, laptops, and even console processors. Available in 2, 4, and 8 gram packages, there's something for everyone. And they come in a new syringe design, making it easier to see exactly how much you've used. Grab yours today to keep your frame rates high and your temperatures low.
And cut. Good job, you got the bar.
Thanks. That MX7 stuff actually sounds pretty good. I'm guessing I get a free sample, right?
No, go online and buy yourself. What do we pay this guy for?
Buy yours by clicking the link in the description below. So the 3070 Ti, when launched back in May of 2021, at the time was in a bit of an awkward spot. Coming in at $599, it sat right between the highly praised RTX 3070 and the powerhouse RTX 3080. But it often felt like it had more in common with the former than the latter, with the main point being that it kept the same 8GB of VRAM as the non-Ti model, which even back then was starting to look a little lean for a card aimed at pushing 1440p and entry-level 4K gaming territory. But it swapped the standard GDDR6 for faster, hotter GDDR6X memory. That change gave the 3070 Ti a significant bandwidth boost to 608GB a second, but it came at a cost of much higher power consumption, often drawing nearly 300 watts for performance gains that sometimes only amounted to single-digit percentages over the vanilla RTX 3070. Now fast forward to the RTX 5070 Ti, and NVIDIA have addressed the biggest complaint of that generation by upping the memory capacity by double. But with a new architecture, new features, and more memory throughput, is the upgrade from the 3070 Ti worth it overall? Well, that's what we're going to find out, now that the Blackwell-based GPU has been out coming up to a year. So as you all know, the Blackwell-based 5070 Ti lands with a much healthier 16GB of GDDR7 memory. Unlike the 5070 that we looked at, which was trimmed down to a 192-bit bus, the Ti model restores that full 256-bit bus that we saw on the original 3070 Ti. When you combine that wider bus with the blistering speeds of GDDR7, the bandwidth jumps to massive levels, far exceeding what even the old RTX 3080 could manage. This creates a much clearer separation between the 70 class and the 70 Ti class this generation than we at least saw back in the Ampere days. Now, price-wise, the 5070 Ti does come in with a premium. While the 3070 Ti launched at $599, the 5070 Ti has crept up the pricing ladder, often sitting closer to $699 or $749 depending on the model. However, for that extra cash, you are getting a card that effectively doubles the frame buffer and offers a generational leap in efficiency, meaning you're no longer just paying for a slightly overclocked card with hotter memory like we arguably saw with the 3070 Ti. For gamers still holding on to that 2021 release, the upgrade argument here is, I guess, much stronger than it was for the base 3070 owners. You have the choice of moving from a card that was often VRAM limited in modern titles to one that has enough headroom for the next few years of high-fidelity gaming, all while running cooler and quieter thanks to the architectural improvements of Blackwell. But as always, yes, there is a performance jump. But by how much? Well, to see exactly what you get from upgrading from an RTX 3070 Ti, we put both cards onto our GPU test system with an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D and 32GB of Corsair Vengeance RGB 6000MHz CL30 memory on a Gigabyte B650E Aorus Master motherboard. All testing was done on the latest version of Windows with the latest updates, and we used the latest NVIDIA Game Ready driver. We'll be looking at 1080p, 1440p and 4K results today, and looking at the performance increase that you'd get going from an RTX 3070 Ti and moving up to the RTX 5070 Ti GPU. We'll also be putting all of our test results over on our Patreon, so if you want to check them out while also supporting the channel with everything we do, the link for that is down below. So, with that out of the way, let's get into those glorious benchmarks. Starting off our test with Arc Raiders on the low preset, and things are looking impressive with a 45% uplift at 1080p, a slightly higher 55% at 1440p, and a stronger still 65% increase at 4K. What's interesting here is that the 1% lows on the RTX 5070 Ti surpassed the 3070 Ti's averages at all three resolutions, much like we saw when we compared the non-Ti versions not too long ago. As we switch to the Epic preset, the increases in performance reach new levels with a 64% increase at 1080p, 70% at 1440p, and a mammoth 80% increase in performance at 4K, taking what was a pretty paltry 47 FPS now up to 85 frames per second. Switching over to Black Myth Wukong on the low preset, and we're seeing huge increases moving from the 3070 Ti to the 5070 Ti of 65% at 1080p, 72% at 1440p, and 77% at 4K. This also now opens up a whole new resolution for gamers on the aging 3070 Ti who want to play the latest games, where performance was maybe at a sub-optimal level and is now pushing well above the threshold for playability. As we move to the high preset, again we see some strong generational improvements to the tune of 71% at 1080p, which pushes the frame rate well past 100 FPS. Then at 1440p, that gap increases to 73%, and at 4K, 85%. Though the numbers are much lower at that resolution, and while the 3070 Ti is what I'd class as unplayable, especially in more demanding areas, the 5070 Ti would still benefit from upscaling to push that 48 FPS just a little bit higher. Moving on to the fan favourite of CS2, and the numbers might not sound as impressive in terms of improvements gen on gen, purely because the numbers are so high in the first place. So I'll say straight off the bat that no one is going to be disappointed with any of the figures displayed here, but you will still see gains of 10% at 1080p, 30% at 1440p, and 39% at 4K, in case, 300 FPS plus wasn't enough for you. On the very high preset, which I'm 99% sure most people won't be using in this game, we do see high improvements of 41% at 1080p, 52% at 1440p, and 59% at 4K. Now, unless you're a competitive gamer with an ultra-high refresh rate monitor, any of the numbers shown here will be more than enough for you, and you'll likely be playing on medium settings or around that area anyway. In Cyberpunk on low, 1080p really doesn't allow the 5070 Ti to stretch its legs due to it being a bit more CPU reliant at this resolution, and that's why we only see an 11% uplift moving from the 3070 Ti. At 1440p though, the performance on the 5070 Ti only drops by 8 FPS, while the 3070 Ti drops by 41 frames per second, and that leaves us with a 46% difference generation to generation, while 4K sees the biggest jump of 73% and takes performance from a whisker under 60 FPS to a much healthier 102 frames per second on average. Now, if you're playing Cyberpunk, you'll likely want to be moving to the Ultra preset or higher, and it's here where you can see what resolution the 5070 Ti is kind of squarely aimed at. 1080p sees a gain of 48%, pushing well past 100 FPS, but 1440p and 4K see the bigger increases in performance of a hearty 79%. This puts 1440p just past 100 FPS, and while 4K takes performance from 28 to 50 FPS, as someone who has played Cyberpunk extensively, the game runs pretty fluid at that level anyway. But you could also utilise upscaling if you really wanted to, which of course the 5070 Ti has the latest generation of it. Then finishing up with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on low settings, and while not necessarily a game that needs extreme levels of performance, still nice to see some strong generational uplifts moving from the 3070 Ti to the 5070 Ti of 58% at 1080p, 71% at 1440p, and 74% at 4K. And definitely gives scope for increasing the visual quality while maintaining consistently high frame rates. While the 3070 Ti, as you increase the visuals, you will see that frame rate dwindle. As we switch up to the Ultra preset, the margin at 1080p, where arguably the CPU is still fighting half the battle and the GPU hasn't quite fully taken over, we do see a 33% uplift in performance, which is lower than what we've seen in other games, but still welcomed. Thankfully, as we move up in resolution to 1440p and 4K, we see that variance grow to 68 and 89% respectively. And at the likes of 4K, it takes performance up a tier to a much more comfortable level. So as always, we actually tested more than 5 games and have put the full suite of individual charts over on our Patreon if you want to check them out. We can, however, talk about the 10-game averages, and starting with the low settings first. Here we find some strong uplifts of 36% at 1080p, 57% at 1440p, and 63% at 4K. Though much like we found in our other content where we looked at the 30 series to the 50 series, CS2 does bring the numbers down ever so slightly. But that's also why we test 10 games in total to get that clearer picture from a variety of different types of games. This does also show that the 3070 Ti, albeit on low settings, does still hold up relatively well, even at 4K with an average FPS of 96. As we crank the settings up to higher, we see the GPUs doing a lot more of the legwork, and that's also why we see the 5070 Ti flying ahead with a 62% uplift at 1080p, 74% at 1440p, and 83% at 4K, which makes it pretty clear to see that 1440p and even 4K is the target resolution for a card like the 5070 Ti, as even at 4K it takes performance from a level that would, I guess some would deem unplayable, obviously depending on the title, to a stronger level where even the 1% low sits above 60 FPS. Again, this does also show that there is some life left in the 3070 Ti at 1440p or lower, with the ability to dabble at 4K, but more intensive games may start to show, I guess, chinks in its armour. Now, when it comes to the all-important pricing aspect, on the low settings at their respective MSRP prices, the 5070 Ti does come in as the better value card by around 23 cents per frame at 1080p, while 1440p increases that further with 76 cents per frame better value. But the real winner here is 4K, where the 5070 Ti comes in $1.47 per frame better value. And this really is a combination of the 5070 Ti being better geared for 4K across the games tested, but also the 3070 Ti struggling to keep up at the higher resolutions now, which kind of creates that divide. Then when we move to high settings, which I think is closer to what the target demographic are going to be playing at, we find the 5070 Ti coming in cheaper per frame, even with a higher MSRP launch price, to the tune of $1.09 per frame at 1080p, $1.91 at 1440p, and a pretty impressive $3.89 per frame at 4K. This actually equates to 23% better value at 1080p, 28% better at 1440p, and 31% better at 4K. And again, this grows at 4K due to the 3070 Ti not being able to keep up, which just widens that gap somewhat. So a lot of data to pick through, and compared to the other content that we've looked at, like the 3060 Ti and the 5060 Ti and then the 3070 and the 5070, this one is a bit different because so much has changed between those generations in terms of memory capacity, type, and subsequently bandwidth, along with an increase in just overall cost, which I'll happily take inflation into account, but $150 over 4 years was definitely a bitter pill to swallow, especially when the 5070 Ti first launched. But I do also get that pricing it down towards $599 like the 3070 Ti came in at would actually create significant issues with the RTX 5070 non-Ti at $549. And this is something NVIDIA have kind of always struggled with to a degree. Having that separation between the tiers, whether that be in memory interface, capacity, cores, or pricing. There's always something, but now that the 5070 Ti has been out for coming up to a year, it's definitely matured a little and is, I guess, some of the best uplifts that we've seen in our little series of pitting the 30 series against the 50 series to see if now it's worthwhile to upgrade. Now, there is a bit of a sticking point, and that is maybe something we'll look at in the future by bringing the 40 series into the mix. But while the 5070 Ti is a good card and shows solid performance, it does look better when placed against its older brother, the 3070 Ti, in an artificial way, at least in some ways. Take 4K, for instance. The 5070 Ti is perfectly capable, whereas the 3070 Ti is starting to show its age in the newer titles. So when we end up talking about percentage uplifts, it can come across as a bit skewed. When the 3070 Ti hits a VRAM wall, the performance does fall off a cliff, which makes the 5070 Ti look like it's offering substantially more performance, which I guess technically it is, but it's largely because the older card is choking on assets rather than just raw compute power differences. That said, if you have been feeling that squeeze on your 3070 Ti, then the 5070 Ti is exactly the remedy that you've been waiting for. It fixes the major memory complaints, brings the power efficiency of Blackwell, and also offers a level of performance that makes high refresh rate 1440 and entry-level 4K gaming a possibility again. It is an expensive upgrade, don't get me wrong, there's no getting around that, but unlike the 3070 Ti launch, you are getting a card that feels complete this time. It's a product that will likely last you a good few years without running into those same memory bottlenecks that you're likely facing now. And normally when I finish these up, I'd mention the 40 series equivalent. But with a 192-bit bus and only 12 gig of VRAM, that's definitely not going to last you a good few years. So if you're on a 4070 Ti, then no, don't upgrade to this unless you've just got money to burn. But if you're on a 3070 Ti or older, definitely skip the 40 series and just go straight for this. If you feel the need, of course. So yeah, that's going to wrap up this generational showdown. Hopefully it's cleared up whether you should stick with your current card or make the jump to the 50 series. If you enjoyed it, a like and a sub to the channel would be amazing. And if you want to go that extra mile, we have our Patreon where you'll get access to all of the raw charts that we showed, plus more. Also, exclusive behind the scenes footage, our community game nights, and much, much more. The link is, as always, down below. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.